Hey guys, Nia Imani here, back with another video, and this video is going to be all about natural hair, okay? Because every single day I get an email, a tweet, a text, Instagram, just something about natural hair. Nia, what's my hair type, Nia? You know, just questions, and it's kind of hard to answer these questions, so I kind of want to put this all in one video, kind of in this one centralized location. If y'all ask me about this another time, we're gonna have to fight because the answers are right here. So basically, for my organization, Campus Curls, that I founded, we have this event called Natural Hair Inside Out. So basically, that means everything about natural hair. So everybody thinks that, oh, if you know your curl pattern, that's enough. No. Me and you can have the same curl pattern and our hair could be two completely different things. Knowing your curl pattern is important in a sense. That just kind of helps you figure out what styles work best for you. Like twist out, like does this twist out work good for you, or does this braid out work good for you, or you know, stuff like that. It doesn't really mean, okay, like if I'm 3C and you're 3C, that gel, the same gel works for your hair. That's not necessarily true all the time. It can be sometimes. However, density, porosity, all those other things play a huge role in knowing about your natural hair, more so than knowing your curl pattern. So basically, we're gonna start off with, and I have notes on my phone. Well, I have the whole PowerPoint on my phone, so yeah. So pretty much, what is natural hair? So natural hair essentially is the hair that grows out of your scalp like that. So it's not chemically altered. When I say chemically altered, I personally mean permed. Since my hair is bleached, my hair is still natural to me technically. Some people might argue me that. However, for me personally, natural hair is the hair that grows out of your scalp, the virgin hair that grows out your root, that has not been chemically altered to be straightened or vice versa. So that's what natural hair is. So yeah, it's just your natural curl pattern, kink pattern, whatever you have, that's what natural hair is. So jumping into curl pattern, since I just said it. So basically, your curl pattern is your hair's pattern, and it's the natural and unaltered texture that grows directly from your scalp. So the patterns range from straight, wavy, curly, coily to kinky. So pretty much, here's the chart, and pretty much we have hairs are like pretty much divided up by numbers in a sense sometimes. So we have 1 through 4. So 1 is on the spectrum that your hair is straight, and then 2s are like wavies, 3s are you're getting into the curly, coily, and then 4 is kinky. So people think that if you just have one texture, that's it. No, a lot of people actually have multiple hair like curl patterns. So I'm 3C 4A, so I have 3C in the front, 4A in the back. Some people, they literally have like the crown will be 4A, the middle is 3C, all of that. So like, it's important to know your, like I said earlier, it's important to know your curl pattern. However, it really doesn't say much, because you really could have 15 million different curl patterns, and you really just need to know about your hair's density and the porosity, because that's what helps you pretty much figure out the patterns. But like I was saying, we do have different patterns. So the most common hair types found in black hair happen to be 3A, 3B. So those are your curly, coilies, well, your curlies, coilies, like I said. 3C, which is what I have, 4A, 4B, 4C. So the 3s are the curlier textures, and then the 4A is a little curly, and then it starts getting its way into kinky. So you have 4B, which is a little bit kinky, a tighter curl, and then 4C, which is also a very tight like curl. And then typically with those hair curl patterns, the hair has a lot of shrinkage when it's in its shorter stage. However, when it does get longer, it does shrink up a lot. However, it is still, I don't know, it's just, I feel like a lot of people, and this is a little sidebar, but people think shrinkage is terrible, and it's really not. Shrinkage honestly means that your hair is healthy, so love it, okay? Don't you know, beat it up, because it's that. So also in this, we have transitioning. So transition is basically when you are returning to your natural texture. So a lot of people who got perms when they were younger, or even like recently had perms, sometimes they don't want to just cut the perm or the damage out. Or even when you have heat damage, you can transition from having heat damage. So pretty much it's when your new growth is coming through, however you still have straight ends at the end. Personally, I think if you're going to transition, you might as well just cut it all off, because when you have that dead hair, it's like dead weight, or like a bad relationship. Let's you know, do it to that. You're not gonna grow in a bad relationship, so your hair's not really gonna grow to its best ability when you still are holding on to those dead ends, or those permed ends, those damaged ends. Just let it go. Like if you have like this much, you know, hair left that's straight, just cut it, because honestly, that hair that's coming through is honestly gonna grow like this. So honestly, Transitioning is cool if you are not necessarily so comfortable in cutting all your hair off, but personally, my advice to transitioners is honestly just snip it off. Honestly, just let it go, because your hair is literally going to flourish. If you have to transition and you cut it all off, go into some box braids, start wearing some protective styles. Your hair is literally going to grow right back. I promise. I know, like I literally cut my hair up here and it's already growing back. All right, so we have hair types. So this is when it starts getting important. Like I said, curl patterns are cool, but hair types are important as well. So we have coarse, medium to normal, and fine. So coarse means that the strands are the widest circumference, and this makes your hair the strongest of all textures. So coarse hair is pretty much, it's not easily weighed down by product. This is how you can categorize it. It's not easily weighed down by product, but you do need a lot of product that are like heavier and creamier to retain moisture. This hair is stronger, but it's less elastic. So I'm not going to necessarily target one specific curl pattern. However, those who are typically fall in the type 4 category typically have more coarse hair. This hair is prone to dryness and breakage, so it has to stay moisturized by using more water-based and creamy products. So like I was saying, like if you are literally in the type 4 section, your hair is typically more coarse and is literally more times it's less elastic, and it's also needs more products so that it can stay, you know, moisturized, because it can break. Sometimes I know, like my little cousin's hair is, you have to keep it moisturized. She has type 4 hair, and if you don't, it literally will start breaking off. And you, like I said, yeah, you have to use heavier butters and oils. So that would include cocoa butter, shea butter, capa butter, olive oil, castor oil. You want to use the thicker side of things. So medium to normal hair, that's the category that I typically fall in. As the name suggests, this is the middle of the row for thickness of strands. So it's neither too small or too big, it's medium, and the texture is somewhat resistant to damage while being strong as well as elastic. So what that really means in a nutshell is that it's just the happy medium between coarse and fine. So it's pretty elastic hair. It's not super spongy. It's elastic, like type 4 hair is typically more spongy, on the spongier side, so it's not as elastic. It doesn't like bounce back as quick. Medium hair pretty much springs back in action. It's more elastic, and from that it's less prone to damage because of its strong ability to bounce back, retain moisture. So for example, when you have coarser hair, your hair is actually it's more prone to being damaged as well as to dryness, just because it's not as elastic, it's not as bounce backy. It's not necessarily not as strong, but it just doesn't have that same ability. So that's when I said earlier that shrinkage and springage it says that your hair is healthy. That's what that means. Okay, so when you have medium to normal hair, you want to make sure that you apply butters and oils in moderation, just because the hair can be weighed down easily, or can be prone to more buildup. You want to deep condition after every wash, just so that you can make sure that your hair is strong. Use protein treatments, especially if you use heat, because your hair can be damaged. Not saying that it's not prone to damage, but it can be damaged if you don't treat it right, and that's anyone's hair. And you want to use just a mixture of heavy and light oil. So that's kind of like where I fall. Like I said earlier, I pretty much fall in the medium to normal hair, because I typically use olive oil, but I don't really use castor oil, but I use coconut oil sometimes and almond oil. But when you have thicker, coarser hair, you want to make sure that you're using heavier products in your hair, just so that your hair can really retain all that moisture and not break. And then fine hair. So you already know what fine hair is. Just honestly think of like your mixed cousin's hair, or like white people hair. It's just a little, the circumference, or the circumference is extremely small for this type of hair, and it's making it delicate and easier to damage. So you don't want to use heavy products, because your hair can be weighed down easily if you have fine hair. Y'all know this. You've seen people's hair, and if they use too much something, it looks nasty. It looks weighed down. It's too much. You want to deep condition after every wash, just to make sure that the hair is strong. Tight styles and constant manipulation can be damaging. So if you do have fine hair and you tend to find yourself trying to wear sew-ins, box braids, and all of these just tight styles, you're going to start losing your hair. It's going to start breaking off, because your hair that's actually just too much for it. So you got to relax when you have fine hair. You can't be doing too much. Just let it be free, let it fall, let it fly. And then you want to just use lighter butters and oils, so like mango butter, almond oil, and grapeseed oil. So next, we're going to talk about density. And I hope I'm not talking too fast. Like, I always talk really fast, but I just feel like, this information is important, but I don't want to be like, and density. That's boring. So density. So basically, density is how thick or thin your hair is collectively, or how much hair you have. It's best to check your hair, your density when your hair is dry. So low density, so this is how you can tell about your density. So low density, it's very easy for you to see your scalp. Your hair is low, it's low density. If your hair is medium density, you can see only some of your scalp. So I don't think I have medium density because I can't see my damn scalp. So high density. High density means it is difficult to see your scalp, or no scalp can be seen at all. Your hair is highly density. So you want to be mindful that you can have a thick density, but that doesn't mean your strands are thick. You can be a high density with fine strands, or a low density with thick or medium strands. So I know that sounds confusing, but like I said, I have medium hair, but I also have a high density hair. So the density of my hair is literally just how thick my hair is as a collective unit. You can either have fine hair and a high density, you just have a lot of it, so it's hard to see your scalp. So I hope that makes sense. So like I was in the neck, that also initially all goes back to curl patterns, because you could be a 3C with medium hair with a low density, so your scalp is super easy to see. It's all about how the density is, just how thick, how dense your hair is. That's literally all that means. Elasticity, that's our next subject. So elasticity is the measure of how much the hair will stretch. Healthy hair has a high level of elasticity, which gives it body bounce and curl formation. So if excessive force is used to style your hair, then your hair is going to be less elastic. Also, I talked about this before in one of my videos about deep conditioning. This can also affect your elasticity, sorry. So there's this term called high growth fatigue. High growth fatigue is when your hair is like just too wet, like it's always being moist. So like for the example that I use with this is, say you deep condition too much, you're deep conditioning like every day, your hair is not supposed to, you know, be wet every single day, or like in that state where it's just sopping wet. So high growth fatigue can honestly affect your elasticity, because it can start causing your strands to be weighed down and brittle, and it can start to break. So elasticity is in shrinkage, they're the same thing. It's pretty much how much your hair can spring back. So embrace your elasticity, embrace your springage. Do not, you know, go out there and getting high growth fatigue by, you know, putting all this water in your hair. It's not needed. You don't need to wet and saturate your hair every single day. If you have black hair, that's my personal opinion. If you can do it every other day, but not every day. It's not necessarily needed. Okay, so porosity. This is super important, and I'm actually going to be doing a porosity test here on my channel, but I will be putting like how you can kind of test like what's your porosity. So porosity is your hair's ability to absorb moisture. So back to my initial, you know, little spiel. I told you that curl patterns are important, kinda. Porosity is important. Like I feel like that's the most important, because I have medium porosity. However, because I have 3C hair, and you might have 3C hair, and you might ask me, Nia, what product works good for your hair? And I tell you, you know, this works good, but that doesn't work good for your hair because you might have low porosity. So your hair has different needs. So when searching for products, it's important to read labels and understand what they're saying to you. And I'm gonna do another video on that as well. But porosity is just way more important to know when picking out products rather than knowing your curl pattern. So like I said, porosity is your hair's ability to absorb moisture, which is super, 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 super important to know, because if you're not getting enough moisture, or if you're getting too much moisture, your hair can be damaged by breakage and just start falling out. So we don't want that. So we're gonna start off with low porosity. Low porosity is has a hair cuticle that is tightly bound, and making it challenging for moisture and chemicals to effectively penetrate and be released. So it's much harder to moisturize low porosity hair. You want to avoid drying products, including alcohol-based gels, hairsprays, and mousse. You want to use water-based products, liquid leave-in moisturizers that will moisturize your hair without heaviness. So, and you want to also use light oils to seal your hair after moisturizing. So when you have low porosity hair, what that basically just said is your hair, it just takes it a little bit it takes it a minute for it's harder for your hair to be penetrated with moisture. So you don't want to be putting say you just washed your hair and you just threw butter on your hair. like a shea butter. That's not really what you need. You need to use a cream or a leave-in conditioner that is water-based so that your hair is getting that moisture, because it's already hard for your hair to absorb that moisture. You want to make sure that you're giving your hair extra moisture and a leave-in. And then you also want to make sure that you are not using like alcohol, because that can make your hair get even drier, because it's already hard for your hair to obtain that moisture. You don't want to go in with drying products like alcohol-based gels and mousse like that just said. You want to just make sure that you're using everything that's moisturizing. So water-based, and I've talked about this plenty of times on my channel before, how water-based products are so important to keep your hair moisturized. If that's not the first ingredient on your product, this is what you need to say to your product, because water, like that's the number one moisturizer. Water, other things are important, but definitely water is at the top of the list. So with low porosity hair, you just want to make sure that you're keeping your hair moisturized with water-based products and light oils. So medium porosity hair, so that's the category that I fall in. Medium porosity hair is the easiest to manage, and it's the happy medium. It doesn't have a difficulty holding on to moisture. So it's easily moisturized and retains a high level of moisture. You want to shop for moisturizing conditioners, silicone free preferably. Because silicones, we're going to talk about that in my ingredients video, but silicones can really stay on your hair and cause buildup, and we do not want that at all. And you also want to avoid protein heavy conditioners, as well as, you want to avoid protein heavy conditioners, just because that can stay on the hair and make it hard, like make your hair crunchy and straw-like, and we don't want those type of curls. And then you also want to use light or heavy oils to seal in the moisture. So if you have medium porosity hair, your hair doesn't have an issue retaining moisture, doesn't have an issue, honestly might not even have an issue retaining length, because you can pretty much moisturize your hair. It's the happy medium. So high porosity hair, it has gaps and holes in the cuticle, which allows it to quickly absorb moisture and chemicals while also quickly releasing them. So I hope that makes sense. And that basically means like that your hair is essentially kind of like a sponge. Everyone's hair is pretty much like a sponge, but you can absorb the water and it can also come out really quick when you have high porosity hair. So with that, you want to make sure that with high porosity hair, your hair has a difficult time holding on to moisture, making it easily, making that you have high porosity hair, your hair has a difficulty holding on to moisture as it easily escapes the raised cuticle. So it comes in quick and it leaves quick. So you want to avoid drying detergents and silicones. You want to use rich creams and butters for the hair, and you want to seal the hair in layers. So you want to start with a rich leave-in conditioner, you want to follow up with the cream, and then you want to finish off with a heavy cream, a heavy butter or an oil. So this hair, you want to make sure that your hair, like everyone's hair needs to be moisturized, but high porosity hair, like your hair can really be breaking, because your hair, the water comes in quick and it leaves fast. Like the moisture is like this, boom, boom, boom. It goes really quick. So you want to make sure that whenever you are doing like a twist style, or you're doing a wash and go, that you're spraying it with water. You're using a nice, good cream. You're sealing in your hair and making sure that all that moisture that's on those strands are not escaping. So you want to make sure that you are keeping all of that moisture in by using heavier and thicker products. So like I said, again, I'm going to keep on saying it, curl patterns matter, but knowing your porosity is what matters most. And you can test your porosity by putting it in a cup right here, and it'll pretty much tell you like if your hair, how it floats, what type of porosity your hair has. And like I keep saying, it's important to shop for products that fit your porosity rather than your curl pattern, or what you might think is your curl pattern. Okay, so I also want to talk about the lock versus the LCO method. So the lock method is pretty much it's liquid oil cream or liquid cream oil. I am a liquid cream oil type of girl. So I do my water, I spray water on my hair, I do my leave-in conditioner, and then I seal in all my moisture with oil. Because I have medium porosity hair, I'm able to get away with that. However, like I just mentioned on a different note, if your hair is high porosity, you want to make sure that you're drenching your hair in water, you're doing a thicker cream, and you need to seal up all of that moisture in your hair, because it can leave quickly. So basically, the lock in the LCO method is used to help dry hair lock in and retain moisture for 2 to 3 days. Benefits of all hair types specifically, but this specific type of routine. It benefits for all hair, but it's typically for thick hair and type 4 hair. So type 4 hair typically falls on the high porosity list, not all the time, but it's typically more coarser, and it's also, the porosity is a little bit higher. So like I said, the liquid is the water, leave-in conditioner, oil. Bam, that's it. Deep conditioning. This is literally one of my favorite things to talk about. So deep conditioning is adding moisture back into the hair that was removed by daily activities in some styling products. So for me personally, I have multiple videos about deep conditioning, but as far as that, you want to make sure that you are deep conditioning frequently. I deep condition once a week after I wash my hair. Sometimes I use a protein rich deep conditioner, but I also can use just those that are just rich and creamy, and not necessarily like protein all the time, but they're just creamy and making sure that my hair is staying moisturized. All my deep conditioners are water-based. That's the #1 ingredient, just so that it's restoring my moisture back into my hair. You don't want to over deep condition. You don't want to use it past the time that it's recommended, or excessively overnight, because I talked about high growth fatigue, which can be caused by deep conditioning your hair too much. When my hair was bleached, I think I was deep conditioning for like 3 days. Literally, my hair was so limp, and it was nasty. Like I said, it can cause your hair to weigh down, and elasticity will not necessarily be the same. So do not over deep condition your hair. So yeah, basically you just don't want to over deep condition your hair. It's gonna cause your hair, or keep your hair super wet. That's just gonna make your hair like messed up. Okay, so when you're deep conditioning, it is essential, or it's good to use heat or steam. So some people think, oh, if I use heat, my hair is gonna get heat damage. No, if you use heat, when I'm saying heat, I mean like under a dryer or in the shower with the steam, or using a steamer, because it really allows your cuticle to open up and really accept all that moisture into the hair. It's amazing. Like if you've ever just put your deep conditioner on while you're in the shower, and it's like a hot steamy shower, your hair is literally going to be softer. I swear by it. Like your hair is literally going to be softer when you're in that steamy shower, rather than you just using it on a normal thing. So deep conditioning with heat is definitely ideal, or steam is ideal. You do not want to use the deep conditioner as a leave-in or a co-wash. It's meant to be rinsed out your hair. It's not meant to stay in your hair, and don't leave it in too long. So rinse out your deep conditioner. That's why you have a leave-in, so that you can leave it in. Get it? There you go. And then you want to focus your deep conditioner on the ends of your hair, just because the end of your hair is the oldest part of your hair. So this is prone to more breakage. So when you treat your ends right, literally your ends, that allows you to retain length, because if you're keeping your ends moisturized, all of your hair needs to be moisturized, but if you're keeping your ends moisturized more than anything, it's going to allow for it to grow. So some people, their hair might they think their hair is like at a stunted growth or something like that, but that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes we do have predetermined lengths as far as our hair, but moisture is important. Like that's literally at the top of my list. And when I keep talking about everything goes back to moisture, and that's really how I've been able to grow my hair to tailbone length, and how I've pretty much grown like my hair. I don't know how many inches this is exactly, but my hair has grown, I want to say more than 4 inches since I've cut off all my damn hair last year. Moisture just is important. So keeping your ends moisturized, sealing in your ends moisture. All of your hair is important, yes, but your newer hair is like your virgin, new, precious hair. So it doesn't need as much treatment as your end. Like your ends have been here for a minute, so you want to make sure that they're getting all the moisture, the hair food, the love, the care possible. If you keep your ends moisturized more than anything, that will cause for you to need less trims on your hair. So me personally, I only trim my hair twice a year, just because I keep my ends moisturized. I deep condition every week. My ends are always moisturized, so my hair doesn't break off. My ends don't really split that much, because I keep them so moisturized and healthy. So deep condition your hair, focus it at the end. When you put in that leave-in conditioner, focus it at the end. Focus it on all the hair, but also make sure that the ends are getting much love, the oils on your ends, all of that. Especially because when your ends, like, think about it, friction, like the daily, hair problems that you get, or the daily usages, the daily things that you do every day. Sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about, but the things that you do every day, like if your hair is always constantly rubbing up on clothes, and that friction, that's gonna cause your hair to be drier. So keep it moisturized, keep it oiled up, keep it prayed up, keep your hair soft and just beautiful. So here's my healthy hair tips for you. You want to keep your hair moisturized. I keep saying that word, moisturize, moist. So many people hate that word, but I don't know why. You want to sleep on satin and So that could be a bonnet, that could be a pillowcase. Just sleep on it, okay? Because cotton is not good. All that friction is gonna make your hair dry. Which is, a lot of people, when we did this event at school, people were asking like, okay, so why can you dry your hair with a cotton t-shirt opposed to using a towel? So towels, regular towels, they pretty much, all that friction is causing, like, is drying up your hair. But think about a dry t-shirt opposed to a back to t-shirt. So think of a dry t-shirt opposed to the t-shirt taking in all that moisture. So it kind of, the composition of the shirt, it doesn't necessarily change, but it feels different when your hair is like soaking wet in a t-shirt rather than you just rub it against a dry t-shirt. So when you rub it against a dry t-shirt, the material is a little bit harder, but when the shirt is wet, the material is not different. But when a towel is like wet, it still feels the same. So that's making all that friction is making your hair drier, but that doesn't really have the same effect with a t-shirt, a cotton t-shirt. I personally use either a cotton t-shirt or microfiber towels, because microfiber towels are not necessarily made out of the same material as a regular towel. They're meant to absorb all that moisture, so it doesn't cause breakage and drying on the hair. You want to reduce the amount of heat usage. So many people want healthy hair, but they fry their hair every single day. How are you gonna, it's not possible. So for me personally, I straighten my hair maybe once or twice a year. 3 times is the max. Sometimes I use heat, maybe just a little bit. Maybe I blow dry my hair, maybe not really. Since I've when I did wear it straight a lot, my hair was still very long, but I kept my hair in a healthier stage. But my curls were heat damaged. Some people are okay with their hair being heat damaged, but if you want healthier hair in a general overall sense, I would just say reduce the amount of heat that you're using so that your hair can be at its healthiest best. But if you're not going to reduce the amount of heat usage, just make sure that you're deep conditioning your hair, you're keeping your hair moisturized, and you're using heat protectants, and you're taking, you know, the necessary precautions when doing your hair, that your hair does not necessarily get super fried and super damaged, because that can be the cause from heat. Keep your ends moisturized. Deep condition often. Detangle in sections from root to tip with a wide tooth comb or with your fingers. So think about all the breakage you could be causing your hair if you just detangle it like this while it's dry. That's just too much. Just don't do that. Personally, I detangle, if you watch my videos here on YouTube, I detangle in 4s. So I go in the back from the bottom, make sure I use a nice slippery conditioner, make sure water is running through my hair, because that's when my hair is most elastic, when it's wet. So I make sure I just go in and I get my detangler on, and boom, no breakage. Opposed to you deep tangling your hair on dry hair, you can just cause a lot of breakage from your hair, a lot of friction, just a lot of unnecessary things that you can avoid if you were just to get in the shower and detangle, or just get a spray bottle and your favorite conditioner and a wide tooth comb or your trusty dandy handy fingers, and just, you know, get your detangle on. But don't detangle dry hair, detangle in sections, detangle on wet hair, slippery conditioner. Massage your scalp for growth and blood flow circulation. So I typically use my Vanity Planet massaging brush. You can get you one. I have a coupon code, but it's amazing. I've been using it since freshman year of college. I'm in my junior year now, and it literally, I can definitely say it's aided my hair growth. It promotes hair growth. It gets that blood flow circulating. A lot of people, they might lose hair in certain areas, like they might have traction alopecia, which basically means where your hair is like being pulled out. Like that's the type of alopecia. Like say you had tight braids, that's just traction alopecia. So if you just go back and like I think I got bald, like I had a bald spot in my middle part before, just due to like eating habits, but I went back and I just started massaging it every day. You would never know I had that bald spot. So massage your hair, massage it when you're bored, get somebody else to massage your scalp. If you see that your hair might be shorter in some places than in others, massage it. Just, you know, get that blood flow circulating. You know, sometimes your hair needs a pep talk. It needs, it just needs that extra boost. So give it that. So massage your scalp when you're in the shower, when you're bored, when you're, you know, just massage it up. Trim your ends when needed, not every 2 weeks. So I don't know who said get your ends trimmed every 2 weeks. I feel like that's a lot. Back to my initial, you know, statements where I keep talking about moisture. If your ends are moisturized, then you won't need to get trims as often. But if your ends do need to be trimmed, please trim it. Like I said earlier about damaged hair, just let it go, because it's going to allow for all your other hair to just grow through. And you want to avoid too many chemicals. So bleach, I hate bleach, But you know, your hair can be healthy with bleach, but that goes back to moisture. But just avoid too much of, you know, too much of anything is not good. So avoid that if you can. Yeah. And then you want to make sure that you seal in all of your moisture, and that's basically when you're doing your hair and you just go on top of everything with oil, just to make sure that all of that moisture is locked in and it's not going to leave your hair. So pretty much this is where the video kind of ends, but I just want you all to remember that at the end of the day, no matter what curl pattern, density, porosity, kink, curl, coil, anything, like, natural hair is so beautiful. It really tells a story about who we are as individuals, whether you're Black, African, biracial, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Antiguan, Trinidadian, whatever you are, like, your hair, like, it's you. Like, it says a lot about who you are, and it tells a story about your roots, your culture, and yourself. It's just a way to express yourself and tell people who you are without you opening your mouth. It tells your story. So love your hair no matter what curl pattern it is, no matter the length. None of that. Like, I just want everyone to know that you're beautiful with your hair however it is, and just embrace it. And I just want y'all to love yourselves. Like, I feel like since I've been natural my whole life, but since I've really, like, gone on my journey, like, just me wearing my hair in its natural state, I've really just become, like, I've really fallen in love with myself and who I am as an individual and my people, just because I'm able to accept myself in my natural state no matter what. So I hope this video was helpful. If I was talking too fast, maybe you need to catch up. I don't know what to tell you, but thank you all so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get some conversation going down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in my next one.